Dye Durham has provided an update on its ongoing strategic review and says it is reviewing an acquisition proposal from Canadian investment firm Plantro. And here to break it all down for us is Stephen Boland, Managing Director and Equity Research Analyst, Diversified Financials at Raymond James. Good to have you. Thanks for taking the time.
Good morning.
This has a bit of a complicated background in terms of who the key players are in this proposed deal. Can you give us and our viewers a sense of what exactly is going on here, first of all?
Sure. So there's three players kind of named in this unsolicited offer. The main one is Plantro. Plantro is a holding company run by Matt Proud, the former CEO of Dye Durham. One move is his brother's firm, Tyler Proud. And the third is basically a holding company for a former CFO, like probably 6 or 7 years ago. So Plantro's made the unsolicited bid. They've basically one move, and the other holding company have said they would support the bid that Plantro has put in, but they're not, they're maintaining their separation at this point, really to get around what Dye Durham has done and put in a shareholder rights plan. So it's a complicated sequence of events, but it's really being led by Matt Proud, who is Plantro.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Dye Durham adopting that shareholder rights plan. I mean, what kind of a wrench, if any, does that throw into what's happening here?
Yeah, so companies will tend to put in a shareholder rights plan when they're worried about a creeping takeover, meaning between those three individuals or those holding companies, they own 22% of the stock. Now, Plantro does have basically a hold where it cannot acquire more shares, but they could come in as a group. They would own 22%. The shareholder rights plan is basically trying to block anybody that has more than 20% of the shares. So it's a way to dilute the existing shareholders and protect them getting control without paying a premium in the market.
When it comes to the proposal from Plantro, do you think that's a lowball offer?
We think so, because part of the offer is, excuse me, $475 in cash, which is positive for the shareholders. They get cash certainty, but they also mentioned this $550 of value in an unnamed public company. But by coincidence, Plantro also filed a preliminary prospectus to list a SPAC here in Canada. And part of the unsolicited bid is to move the financial services business of Dye Durham into, we think now, the SPAC. And so, but it's difficult to know what the value of it, one, if the SPAC is going to be completed, and two, we haven't really seen the balance sheet of what would be in that SPAC. So you would get the assets of the TELUS business, which is positive, but we're not sure what the other side. We don't know what the debt would be, in that SPAC. So this is all going to come out in disclosure probably in the next month or two.
Okay. On Monday, One Move Capital sent a letter to the company's board of directors saying that Dye Durham had received a credible offer 2 weeks ago that was not seriously engaged at first. How do you think that plays into everything and impacts that announcement today?
Yeah, this is the interesting part. At some point, One Move was pushing for change at Dye Durham, and part of that change was removing his brother, Matt Proud, and making substantial changes in the operations. He's come back now to the other side saying he's not happy with the new management team, the board. The stock price is reflecting that, the operations, and plus they've delayed filing their year-end numbers, which is creating a little bit more uncertainty in the market.
When it comes to uncertainty in the market, like when we're taking a look at this proposed takeover, I guess, would there be any risk for Dye Durham shareholders?
I don't know if there's any risk at this point. Again, this company's been through activism for the past 2 years. It's clear, that Plantro and Matt want to be involved in the company. The people on the board are really the first activists that came after, Matt, 2 years ago. So that's been solved, but the stock price is definitely been hurt. With the delay of the filing of the financials. And to be honest, it has not been a great housing market. That's where they generate a good portion of their revenue. And so the delay in the financials is just creating, again, what I said, more uncertainty for shareholders. We think there's a lot of value in the business. We like the company in terms of what products they offer to legal firms. But the disclosure has just been a little bit delayed, and it is creating some noise.
So then what do you think for this company is the best path forward? Because Matthew Pratt has been pretty vocal, saying he's frustrated about how the company is handling things. Do you think this kind of takeover or this proposal is the best path forward for Dye Durham?
I think we need more disclosure, to be honest. The part of the delay in the financials has been a change in the CFO, probably some of the finance team that are new to the company. The second thing is there's been talk of an impairment for the goodwill. That's a strong possibility. They've been repricing their contracts pretty much for most of this year, and there has been talk of concessions going to customers. And typically, when that happens, you could get an impairment. The businesses that you bought are not generating the same type of profitability and revenue that you acquired. So until we get some clarity on the actual audited financials, whether there's an impairment and how the business is doing, again, in a slow housing market, it's difficult to know if shareholders will want to see the improvement in the operations and the financials and get an update from management, or they're willing to go back and take $550 of value in an unknown SPAC without really seeing the balance sheet and what it's going to do on its own. So there's a bunch of uncertainty here going on, Lindsay.
Okay, well, to watch what happens next. Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us today.